Okay, so that doesn't work. Let's try a brush. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts, and I hope you're doing okay. Now, you may have remembered seeing recently the Eco Resin dual piece that I made. One of them didn't quite go according to plan, but I learned a lot. Well, the other one needs decorating. The smaller version that I made needs decorating, and I took it out of that video because the video was already way too long for me. So this video is a quick video on how I decorated this piece, and I hope you really enjoy it. So last week I used resincrete to make a few pieces, one of which was this bowl. And if you remember last week, I did mess up with the measurements, but it still came out absolutely beautiful. And apparently, according to a lot of comments, resincrete is very forgiving, and I am very grateful for that. I used Mermaid Colour, which is from Homeware Design, and they are on Etsy. And I'll try and put their link in the description box below. The colour is absolutely stunning, and I just poured this bowl as is with the resincrete. Plain and simple. It came out beautiful. I do love this colour. But now I need to think about decorating because it is very plain and simple. And I thought I'd try something that I've been wanting to try for a long time. Claire from Claire's Crafty Corner has used this method a lot. These are sticky back silk screens. Now, if you watch Claire's channel, you would have seen her use these on multiple occasions. I don't know if she has used this set, but I thought it would be brilliant for a bathroom or shower room themed bowl. There are lots of different ones on Amazon. I got these from Amazon, and I will put the link for these in the description box below. So I've chosen a few of the designs. I can't use the big ones because this is a small item, but I'm going to cut out the ones that I like. Silk screens are in so many different types of designs, and because these ones are sticky backed, you can stick them to your item and they won't move, and I do love that about them. I have never used silk screens before. I know that sounds quite bizarre for someone who's very creative and likes crafting, but I never have. Claire has used them on so many occasions, and she's done some amazing projects with them. Now, the thing is, the way my mind works, I don't want to go down the standard painting route. I decided to do something a little different. Let's start with something simple. So I thought I'd start with a bubble. I figured I'd have quite a few bubbles on this. So I popped the silk screen onto the side, and I've used the implement that's supplied with the pack to smooth it out really nicely. So I thought I would try Stays On ink. I have a little cotton pad that I believe is meant for paint, and I thought it would work with the ink. So as it's quite a dense pad, I needed quite a lot of ink to start with. I didn't really know how much pressure to put on the silk screen, but I've got to give this a try. I want to know if it's going to work. This Stays On ink does dry really, really quickly, and maybe I could have done with one that didn't dry as quickly, because when I peeled it back, well, that didn't work, did it? It looks like all the ink has gone on the silk screen and none has travelled through, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. So it's definitely there,
So that doesn't work.
but too faint to see.
Let's try a brush.
So I figured all the ink was on the pad and nothing was going through to the base underneath. It was all sitting on the silkscreen. You can see that it is coloured, the silkscreen, lovely blue. But I just wanted to go through the silkscreen. So I figured I'd try a brush to get that ink into the areas of the stencil. Now maybe by this point I should have given up. The ink was drying so quickly and it wasn't runny enough. It needed to be a lot runnier. But when I've got an idea, I don't give up very easily.
Well, they're there, but it's so plain. Let's try something a bit more substantial.
So I decided to use a small fish.
Right. To try covering up this bit. A fish.
Now I had been a little messy and got an odd line off of the side of the silkscreen, so I wanted to cover that up anyway. I figured trying a different sponge might help. That didn't pick up much ink at all, so I went back to the paintbrush. I really do think that using ink through a silkscreen does have potential. Maybe I've got the wrong ink, maybe you need a different type of ink and a totally different applicator. Sadly on this occasion I couldn't get it to work. So I decided to try something completely different instead, and I got out the metal leaf glue. I figured that the metal leaf glue is really thin glue and it should go through a silk screen quite happily. Now again, this is the first time I'm trying this and I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go, but I thought I'd give it a go because you never know. Unless you try something, you just don't know how it's going to come out. I did lather the glue on quite considerably, and when I took it off I realised that I put far too much glue on there. It looked quite blobby, not so much as a fish as a blob, but I washed off the silk screen, which you can do quite easily, and I put it in a different area and thought, yep, we'll try this again. And this time I used less glue. And I made sure I went over it a few times with the brush to get rid of any large blobs or excess. I knew I was going to have to wait 45 minutes to do anything else with it, but it came out so sharp and beautiful. Now I did put a couple of other designs down, but 45 minutes later I chose the colour Nether, and I thought Nether from the Tiny Turner available on toonpish.com was the perfect colour for these. It's a purple blue, absolutely stunning colour. And I'm still going to colour in that blobby fish. I'm going to try and clean that up if I can. I also put a starfish on the side. And once I was happy that this was taking the colour so well, I went on and decorated the rest of this tray with an array of bubbles and fish and shells. I even managed to go over the ink bubbles too. Now I am fully aware that resincrete or any eco type pour needs to be sealed. So after a lot of deliberating, I decided to give it a coat of resin. Now I know last week I discovered that resincrete and resin don't mix very well. By that I mean that resin doesn't sink into resincrete. It sits on top and therefore doesn't create a massive bond. But I'm using this as a shiny barrier, so I hoped it would work. I don't want it to sink in as much as to sit on top, and I'm just literally going over it with my fingers to get a sealed surface. I thought sealing in the colour that is now completely stuck onto the metal leaf glue, it would give it more longevity if it's being handled a lot. That's the way I was thinking. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a restoration project being done by an expert. They use metal size glue or that equivalent for gilding. they put the glue down and they gild the gold on top. They don't seal that in, they leave it. And you could leave this, but I decided if it's going into the bathroom, it really could do with a seal. So 24 hours later, and it's fully cured. Now the finish isn't brilliant, it's quite patchy, and that is because the resin doesn't sink into resincrete. However, if you gave this another coat, I think it would be brilliant. I ran out of time to film that for this video, but I really hope you've enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to be using silk screens more often, and I'm going to try out new ideas that I've got buzzing around in my head, because this has really inspired me, and I hope it's inspired you too. Thanks for the inspiration, Claire. I went with it and I went off at an angle. And if you've enjoyed this video or found it useful, helpful or entertaining, don't forget to push that like button, because it really helps me out. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so. It doesn't cost anything and it definitely helps too. Anyway, come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting, and bye for now.